All right, welcome everyone to ECU's Department of Kinesiology virtual academic session. My name is Kelly Dill. I am the Director of HHP Advising. We also have a couple of our kinesiology advisors on the call, Miss Mandy Dockendorf and Miss Rachel Hodges. We also have some students on standby, and Miss Craven, do you guys want to introduce yourselves really quickly?
Sure. Hi, guys. I'm Matt Craven. I'm the Director of Outreach for the college. I also oversee our HHP Ambassador program, which kind of employs a couple of our students in our program. So I have two here with me tonight.
Hi, I'm Haley Briles. I'm a senior and I'm majoring in exercise physiology.
I'm Kendall Brockman. I'm a sophomore and I'm also majoring in exercise physiology.
Thank you. And we also have Mr. Flowers on the call as well if you have questions for ECU admissions. We also have some of our faculty and program coordinators on the call. I'm going to let them introduce themselves as they're going over their majors and just tell us, faculty, a little bit about yourself, what interests you about your program, and then we'll kind of go from there. So welcome everyone again. Thank you so much for being here. We have a lot of people here. We even have someone all the way from Turkey. So I know with the time difference and everything, that's very difficult for you. So thank you for being here. This is being recorded. We will send this out afterwards, so no worries if you missed something. What we'll have is a presentation, go over each of the four majors. And as we're doing that, feel free to turn your camera on. I see Destiny has her camera on, so thank you. We love to see your faces and meet you. And you can ask questions in the chat. You can unmute yourself and ask questions. We will have plenty of time for Q&A at the end of the presentation. And we'll also have questions for the students. They can tell you what it's really like being in the program and what it's really like at ECU. And then we have some admissions things to cover as well. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm Miss Dockendorf and Miss Hodges will be covering the chat for me. Please bear with me here as I share my screen. And Lisa, I think you're going to be up first if you want to go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi, everyone. My name is Lisa Frederickson. I'm the Exercise Physiology Program Coordinator. I guess a little bit about why I like ECU and our degree, or kinesiology in general. I think we've got fantastic faculty across the board. Everyone is very nice and supportive of students. We truly collaborate regardless of what degree you're in to try to help our students achieve whatever goals they're working towards as far as careers go, and just everyone is really available to help with that student success. So that is why I like working at ECU. So a little bit then about, am I supposed to go over what?
No, I tell you what, Kelly, if you want to go back, I'm feeling in for Patrick today.
Oh,
tonight.
okay. I did not realize that. I'm sorry, Dave.
I should
Well, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yeah, I thought he had emailed you because he stopped by my office. So guys, first of all, thanks for being on tonight. My name is Dave Campbell. I'm actually the program coordinator for our health fitness specialist degree option. I'm filling in for Patrick Ryder, the assistant to our chair, and he usually does this talk, and he's a lot better at this than I am, but I'll do my best. So we are the Department of Kinesiology, and I'll be honest with you. I've been here for about 15 years now, and I guess 16, 17 years. And we used to be Exercise Sports Science, and we changed this name. And so part of what we're trying to do is explain, what is kinesiology. So kinesiology is the scientific study of human movement. So we start with a very basic question is how do we move? And then why do we move? All right, how do we move? We have muscles in our body that pull on tendons, that pull on bones, that create some forces, and it makes us move throughout space, right? Why do we move? We move to be healthy. moved to improve our fitness. We moved to perform activities of daily living. We moved to engage in sporting activities. So we have lots of different reasons that why we move, and we study all of that. So what happens when we move, right? What happens with my heart, right? Or what happens with my muscles? What happens when I move? And we look at it from a cellular level all the way to the full human body. How do we teach others to move, right? That's important in a lot of our degrees. And the physical education concentration, working with kids and teaching them how to move and why to move and how to perform skillful movements and how do we develop that? How is general movement or general physical activity, how is that different than sport, right? What is the outcome that we're trying to gain? And then we also talk about the social and the cultural differences and the impacts that sports have on those. And Kelly, you can advance. And again, here are the 4 undergraduate degree programs that we have. We have the BS in Exercise Physiology with which Ms. Frederickson will tell you a little bit more about. I'll be back on and talk to you about the Health Fitness Specialist degree option. We have Dr. Buenano will speak to you about the BS in Sports Studies, and then Mr. Jeff Pizzitella will be back to talk to you about physical education and teacher prep.
Okay, now you get to hear from me again. So like I mentioned, I'm Lisa Frederickson. I'm the program coordinator for the Exercise Physiology degree. So Kelly, if you want to go to the next slide, please. Thank you. So a lot of times we get kind of this generic question of what is exercise physiology? And exercise physiology can also be referred to as exercise science. Sometimes we'll hear it as like movement science, but essentially it's a field that describes the responses to exercise, whether that's exercise, physical activity, and sport, and how those responses have impacts on our health, disease prevention, and sports performance. So how do we use the information we're learning to tailor that to help individuals improve their performance or adopt a healthier lifestyle and improve some health outcomes? So if you'll go to the next slide, thank you. So when you look at a lot of different colleges and universities, a lot of programs have very similar curriculums. So I'm going to tell you what makes ECU different and what makes us stand out as far as our exercise physiology curriculum goes. So we have a wide variety of coursework. A lot of our students will take biomechanics, they'll take 2 levels of exercise physiology. We've got some EKG courses where we're looking at the heart rhythm and interpreting 12-lead EKGs during exercise and at rest. We've got some hands-on applications with stress testing where we're looking at someone's VO2 max, where we're working with younger college age students and seeing what their VO2 max is. And we're also working with older individuals and seeing how VO2 max varies across ages and maybe even people with certain comorbidities. We also have an exercise prescription class that has a lab component to it where you get some more hands-on practice with things like blood pressure, body composition, functional movement analysis. And then we have another level of exercise prescription for resistance training and dealing with more of a clinical population. And then another thing that makes our curriculum unique is that we have some research opportunities really built in to our curriculum. So students have the opportunity, usually their junior or senior year, to start working with faculty on an individual basis for course credit in their research labs, really in whatever interest they align with. So they get that one-on-one mentorship and they really get to dive deep into the field of exercise physiology where their interests lie. So that's really something that's truly unique to ECU, and that we do offer that experience for our students. And then after that, students get to choose 8 to 10 electives that align with their career goals. And that's where our advisors come in really handy is helping students kind of choose which electives might best align with those career goals. And we do have 2 tracks within exercise physiology. One is clinical exercise physiology, and the other is exercises medicine. The really only difference between those 2 tracks is one is designed more for those students who want to go on to those pre-professional schools. So things like PT, PA, maybe med school or dental school. We've got some of those science courses already built in. And then the other one has an internship built into that curriculum, but your core exercise physiology courses are the same regardless of what track you're in. So that is that. And then if you'll go to the thank you. And so with that, since we do have 2 separate tracks, a lot of students come in and they think, I want to go into exercise physiology. I want to go into physical therapy with an end goal without really realizing some of the other common career paths you can take as an exercise physiologist. So luckily, the field of exercise physiology is expected to grow over the next several years, which is a good thing for career outlook. So some careers that you can transition to in exercise physiology or with a degree in exercise physiology would be something like a wellness coordinator. We see a lot of our students get research associate or research assistant positions, clinical research coordinators, respiratory therapy. They'll end up in the orthopedic industry or medical device sales. Cardiac rehabilitation is also another one. Some of them go on to be some strength and conditioning coaches. We see a lot of them in pulmonary rehab or health and wellness coaches. So aside from those pre-professional tracks, there are lots of other opportunities in exercise physiology for careers that we like students to be aware of and keep as options for careers as well. So bottom line, exercise physiology is a really robust field. So lots of opportunities within that.
Yes,
Next.
I will say, I think before moving on, I will say this is one of our, bigger majors at the university. And we really do try to help prepare you for those professional programs that you're interested in. We meet with the PT school, once a year, Lisa? Let's see. And aside from that, there's a lot of what she mentioned, experiential learning as well.
Yes, I will say that comparing ECU's undergraduate degree to my undergraduate degree, there is so much more hands-on opportunities for students to work with the research faculty that it's just truly impressive that our faculty are that willing to work with students, and you get that much one-on-one attention and that much hands-on experience from our faculty. And that's across the board. It's not just specific to exercise physiology. It's anyone in the kinesiology department is who our students end up working with. So, yes.
All right, thank you. I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Bonanno. If you'll introduce yourself, what's your interest in sports studies or area of research, and we'll go from there with the presentation.
Okay, good evening, everyone. My name is Dr. Andrea Bonanno, and I have been working previous to this in the sport industry for about 10 years and full-time in higher education academia for about 8 years. This is my 8th year. It's my first semester at ECU, so I haven't been here very long, but I'm really excited to get started in such a robust program. And this is my first go around also in a school like the Department of Kinesiology. Usually I'm more business and education. That is my experience, but what I've learned that this degree offers a plethora of opportunity for our students. And so it's really exciting to be here. Next slide. Yeah, sorry. Yeah. Oh, sorry about that. So as I said, sports study within the Department of Kinesiology has many opportunities for our students. And I think that Dave and Lisa talked about this earlier when they started talking about the opportunities for our students in our programs to have a more robust experience and an ability to kind of take their career wherever and whatever direction that they want to go. And I think the sports studies program just does just that. And there's a major that students can receive and also a minor. So if they want to do ex-phys, they can have a minor in sports studies, or they want to do communications, they can have a minor in sports studies. So I think that we offer a pretty big variety of what students can do in sports and within the sport industry. Next slide. So some of the careers our students have taken on are within the athletic administration, meaning intercollegiate athletics within the US. So I'll make that clear. In sport marketing, event management, whether it's ticket sales or sponsorships. Our students have gone on to actually be athletes and represent athletes in law. And then as well as licensing, brand management, and coaching, in fact. So some of the classes and that we have and that we offer within our sports studies program, you can see on the screen, and I don't have to go through all of them, but particularly these are our core courses that we have for our students and that our students take within our major. And then they have other courses that we offer within our kinesiology department. But most recently, our sport analytics coach, or our sports analytic course rather, that's pretty new, and students have really enjoyed that. Sports psych and sport and society offers a really deep look into diversity within the sport industry. We have event management and sport marketing that kind of fuses those two together and separate at the same time. So our students can go on facility tours, and they can also work with sport marketing organizations to, let's say, pitch an event, and then they would actually go out and do that. Then we have sport for development and coaching theories, which offer, those that want to work in as a coach, but also the coaching theories can also be applicable to really any degree or any career that our students want. And most recently, we have our special topics. So next year, we're taking our students within a class to Super Bowl or 10 students, I shouldn't say our students, because I don't want to give that out that we're taking 300 students, but we are taking a short amount of students to volunteer at the Super Bowl, but also infusing it into a course. So this is the first, or next year will be the first semester that we are attempting this class. So we hope to continue those courses as such to make us stand out above the rest. And of course, we offer study abroad. We haven't since COVID, to my knowledge, but we're starting to get that back on track. So that's something our students have really enjoyed as well. Next slide. And we offer a culminating internship. And so our internship, as you can see, is 480 hours. So that allows our students to work really full time with a sport organization. So you get hands-on experience just as the other programs do. And we really want our students to gain that experiential learning by having that hands-on learning. Sports are kinesthetic learners, so you kind of learn by doing, and we feel that that's the best opportunity for our students to do that. While we incorporate that into courses, this is the big culminating course that we offer for all of our students to get that hands-on experience, and then, have that professional experience going into the career that they want. So, we work with ECU Athletics, our local sports commission here. We've also had students go to Hurricane Junior Golf Tour, which is based out of 3 different cities. One of our students right now is has just received an internship for a Hurricane Junior Golf Tour. So that's exciting. We have students that are trying to intern right now, interviewing with the Minnesota Twins. So our students, have a wide choices when it comes to the sport industry, and we don't hold that back for our students. So we very much encourage our students to go outside of Greenville if they can, and have their sport experience there and their culminating internship going into the career that they want to go. I think Matt can speak to that too, as one of our former students, rock stars, and Max coming to the Super Bowl with us. So we're happy to have her with us as alumni and as someone in her position to help us expose our program. I think that's it. I don't think I
Yes,
have
and
it.
thank you. And I will say, the advisor for this program, she advises Ms. Vanessa Bright. She couldn't be on the call tonight. She actually teaches within the Honors College here. So she advises for sports studies, health fitness specialist, and physical education. But she's also an alum of our master's program, and she studied sports psychology. So I will say this is a very unique program compared to other programs that you'll see out there that may be geared more towards sport management. I think Dr. Bonanno mentioned this, but we do require a minor with this degree. So that does help round out your degree and career aspects of what you want to do. If you want to go into sports psychology, you can minor in psychology. We have a lot of students who minor in business, or like she mentioned, communication. So, and again, just some really unique opportunities for our students. Like, how many students can say, yeah, I'm taking a class next semester and I may be going to the Super Bowl. So, yes, any questions you have, please let us know. I will make sure that Ms. Bright gets those. And then next, I am so sorry. My arrow button does not seem to want to work. All right, I'm going to turn it back over to Mr. Campbell to talk about our amazing health fitness specialist program.
All right, thank you, Kelly. Andrea, I have a question. If I take this special topics class next semester, can I go to the Super Bowl too?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to check out your GPA and some other things, but we might be able to make that happen.
I'm in too. I'll carry bag, whatever you need.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks, guys. Again, I'm Dave Campbell. I'm a program coordinator for a health fitness specialist degree option. I'm also a product of East Carolina University, and I did the math. I've been here for 17 years in the faculty now, which is crazy to me. But it's a great department, regardless of which concentration you guys choose. It's a fantastic department. And I can tell you right now, from the internship sites that we have, I hear this all the time. They prefer ECU interns over all the other programs in the state of North Carolina. And I can tell you that because it's true. So Kelly, you can go ahead and advance it. No problem. Okay, thank you. We are a program currently that is endorsed through the NSCA, that's the National Strength and Conditioning Association. So our curriculum currently meets the requirements for this ERP program. What that means is we hit different parts that they say that we have to do. And then when our students sit for a certification through the NSCA, they receive a rebate for it. And they get different discounts throughout for memberships and things like that. So our program provides you with knowledge and skills and abilities to work in a variety of settings, whether they're commercial, corporate, public, or private settings. We also serve as a pre-professional program, very much like exercise physiology. And some of our students that go on to get their master's in athletic training, and even some go on into the DPT programs out there. All right, so some of the highlighted courses that I'm going to show you that are specific to the health fitness specialist degree option, you'll see that a lot of them have labs, and that's what we're really big on. We are a very applied program. So we're going to take the information that you're learning in class, and then we're going to go apply it that same week in the lab setting. So whether it's measurement of physical activity, it's your personal fitness training. That's one of the courses that I teach. We're going to be in there talking about lifting weights, and then we're going to go do it. There's a reason that, you know, if I take 10 people and ask them all to do a squat, I'm going to see 10 totally different movement patterns. So we understand that. We start from a basic movement function. What happens at the ankle when I squat? What happens at the knee when I squat? What's happening at my hip when I squat? What's my spine supposed to do when I squat? What kind of angles am I supposed to create? And how that happens, and why that happens. And then we try to work around movement deficiencies that people have, and we have movement strategies for those. So again, everything that we do is very applied. So we're teaching it in the lecture, and then in that same week, we're going to be in the lab setting. In our group leadership class, that's a class that doesn't have a separate lab, but the lab is built into that. So in Miss Kinney's class, they're learning theories behind group leadership, and they're getting out there and they're teaching. Right now in her class, her students are taking our LPAF program, which is our Kinesiology 1000 class, and they're going in with large groups of students, and they're leading them in group exercise. So very applied, hands-on experiences here. We also have 7 hours of kinesiology electives that are built in. So what we encourage our students with our advising staff is to work to find classes that are going to fill voids that you may have in your curriculum that really prepare you well for your future, whether that's going into the workforce right away or going on to one of those pre-professional programs. And we finally have an internship, very similar to exercise physiology and sports studies. And in our internship, Kelly, you can go ahead and advance that. In our internship, it's another 480-hour internship after all your other courses are completed. The semester before you go into your internship, you'll take a pre-internship seminar class that prepares you with resume writing, cover letter writing, applications that you're going out there. Our students are, like I said, they're very competitive in their internships, and we send them all over the country. We have places, again, all 50 states we've had students go to. We've had them internationally. Some of our internships are paid, which are always nice, or at least they have a housing allowance, which helps. Like sports studies, we encourage you to get out of town if you have the ability to get out of town. We encourage you to get out of the state if you have the ability to get out of the state. We want you to see things from a different perspective, hear it from somewhere different. We want you to gain from this experience, so it doesn't need to be the same thing that you've done in the past. So we want this to be a unique experience. Some of our placement sites specific are Google, Under Armour, you saw a picture earlier, the Cooper Health Fitness Institute, Fitness Quest 10 out in San Diego, California, USAA, the Hilton Head Health Institution, Wake Med, IBM, IMG Academy down in Bradenton, Florida, and then various strength and conditioning facilities throughout the U.S. I don't have a slide for this, but some of our careers that students go into, fitness and wellness directors, wellness coaches, personal fitness trainers, strength and conditioning coaches, physical therapists, and athletic trainers. And I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Jeff Pizzitella now.
Thank you. And I think it's also important to note that these internships and these experiential learning opportunities are leading to careers and jobs. So if I'm not mistaken, the person in this picture for Google, she actually got a job from her internship. Is that correct? At Google.
Yeah, Erica's still out, and she's out in Arizona right now, and she's living it up. I keep up with her through social media, and she's always out hiking in various adventures. And Erica's she's a local product. She's right down the road. She's from Washington, or what we call around here, Little Washington. So she's about 20 minutes east of us. But she took us up on it. Aim big, right? And get out there.
All right, thank you. I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Jeff Pizzitella, or Coach Pizzitella, to talk about our BS in Physical Education Teacher Preparation Program.
And Kelly, I'll try and follow the script, but I'm usually not too good at that. So hang on for the ride. My name's Jeff Pizzitella, and I'm the program coordinator for physical education here at ECU. I'm a product of this program for both my degrees. I've taught 25 years in the public schools, and this is my 10th year here at East Carolina. So I'm a I'm purple and gold through and through. An educator through and through. I love my job. If you could do the math, I'm over the 30-year mark and I could have retired, but I really enjoy what I'm doing and passionate about it. So to me, if you're passionate about what you do, then you enjoy coming to work every day. And I do. And I don't know when my end date is, but it will be at some point, maybe. I'm not sure, but it'll be at some point here. But I want to talk to you a little bit about our program and what it's all about. So we are one of a few teacher prep programs that are outside of the College of Education. The actually physical education was the only thing in the kinesiology department originally, way back in the day, but it's divided up into other program areas now. But this is a program that's designed to train you to become a teacher. We work on getting you into schools as soon as possible. And all these things kind of lead to our end result, which is obviously to get a degree in physical education, but also to prepare you for to be eligible for a teaching license in North Carolina. So some of the things that we do here in this program over the course of our 4-year plan that we have set up for you, usually at the end of your first semester is the first time we'll get you in the schools. We have a early experiences class that kind of gets you out, and I teach that class. I call it an anchor class, and that's an opportunity for me to send you into elementary schools, middle schools, high schools, to adapted physical education, just to get an idea of what it's like to be a physical education teacher. So we do that. As we get into our sophomore year, we have a class that's designed to teach you how to teach and write lesson plans, where we actually do peer teachings in that. And then once we get past that phase, you'll be in for 1 semester with me in an elementary methods class, and we go out into the elementary schools to teach. We have an adapted physical education class that actually gets hands-on experience teaching with the exceptional population. Then we have our secondary methods class, which gets you into middle and high schools, where we do practicum work. And then it follows up with our internship. We have an internship 1, which is a 1 day a week for the first semester, and then your last semester is an internship 2, where you spend every day at that school for the internship site. You can go to the next slide. I have no idea what's on the next one. There we go. Okay. So a couple things that are really important in teacher education. We have specific licensure requirements, and that's designed and developed from the Department of Public Instruction. Then they kind of filter that down to us as requirements that our students need. Currently, we have exit exams, just like you would for any other profession. So we have teaching license exams for our specific area. We also have it's education teacher preparation appraisal, which is almost like it's the concept of it's teaching, assessing, or teaching, evaluating, and assessing. So we kind of go through that phase, and this is it's been a national requirement for certifications in most states. We were fortunate enough when I got here to pilot this this Ed TPA for the state of North Carolina. So this is all I know. Since I've been here for 10 years, we've always done Ed TPA, and it's come to fruition about 5 years ago, where it was a requirement for licensure. Our students have been extremely successful with that, and that's one of those requirements that they need for licensure. By having the licensure requirements met, our students, as far as attaining jobs, is usually a non-issue. I can pretty much say right now, with the teacher shortage, our students are 100% employed if they're interested in going into teaching. Right now, we have 9 interns in the school system. 3 of the 9 have already committed to jobs, and they haven't graduated yet. So they're highly sought after, not just because there's a lot of vacancies, but the quality of student that we put out is top notch, and I think that's why they take our students as well. And then this was just a slide of some of our award winners that we've had in the state. Not necessarily the state, but we had one. Laura Brickhouse was a National Adapted Physical Education Teacher of the Year. We actually have in our physical education program 3 National Teachers of the Year. And I don't know that there's many other universities that can say that, but our students that are aggressive, they're willing to take the extra steps, they're go-getters, they are highly successful, and it shows with some of the awards that they've received. And I think that's it.
Yeah, Jeff, can you actually talk a little bit about why this would be a good degree? Because I know there might be some students, prospective students on the call who are interested in athletic training. And of course, all of our degrees will prepare you to go on in athletic training. But I know you talked a little bit before about specifically physical education as a prereq to that and why that's important.
Absolutely. So, and we're all advocates for our programs that would be a good fit for athletic training. But usually the path that we've seen with students that get into athletic training, obviously their big goal is they want to be an athletic trainer for a professional team or a college team. And there's only but so many positions in those fields there. And a lot of times when that doesn't work out, their next option is to be an athletic trainer in a high school. And in order to do that, you must have a teaching license. So when the athletic training was an undergraduate degree, we had a lot of students that were coming back and getting their Masters of Arts in teaching. So they had a teaching license to get into the schools. And now that athletic training has switched to a graduate program, it makes more sense to follow that physical education pathway to get your teaching license, you get your athletic training degree, and you get your training. And if it doesn't work out that you get one of those high profile jobs and you want to come into a school system, you already have the qualifications for that. So that's my recommendation, that I feel like why physical education is probably the best fit for you if you want to do athletic training.
And I know we've talked a lot about experiential learning and other opportunities. Dave, do you want to talk about the Kinesiology Majors Club or the Living Learning Community, or I can talk about it?
I can speak to the Majors Club. I'm currently not an academic advisor for the club anymore, but I have been for years. Miss Rhonda Kinney heads that up. She has for forever, really. But that takes all of our undergraduate programs and puts them in a club, and it's a service learning club. So there's service components to it. We have guest speakers that come to monthly meetings, and it could go from anywhere from resume building, it could come from career opportunities. It could be the advice center comes, they do a lot of really, really good things. They're just getting back. Kind of COVID kind of pushed them back a little bit, but they're getting back to doing some of their social activities again. They'll probably be heading out to a Hurricanes game fairly soon. They also do, usually in the spring, they will attend, and we'll send large groups, upwards of 30, 40 students to the Health Fitness Summit through the American College of Sports Medicine. That this year, I know they're planning on going back. It's in Alexandria, Virginia, and so they're doing fundraising now. They're trying to get head counts to start their fundraising to work that out. And that typically, honestly, once they've done the fundraising, and once they've gone to the SGA, that's a really good experience. A trip that would have probably cost them, close to $1,000. Usually they're out of pocket. They're out of pocket with less than $100. So the university does a great job of supporting them, and then they offset that with their fundraising activities.
And I can jump in a little bit. Can I jump in a little bit about some of these extracurricular opportunities?
Of course.
Your college experience is going to be what you want it to be. we will give you as many opportunities for you to be engaged, successful, experience different things as you want. It's just a matter of you taking that extra step. We have a great support system here. Matt Craven, she opened the door wide for us last year when I had students that wanted to attend our state conference, and she had a funding source that we could utilize. And I opened that up to our students that are interested in attending. And I think we had 5 to attend, and it was covered under that to attend that conference. I think we have 12 attending this year, but it really has opened the eyes of the kids in our profession to see what it's like to do things outside of the school setting. So there are plenty of opportunities. There's plenty of scholarships at this university to apply for. You just have to make the effort to want to do it. If you want to go to class and go home and graduate, that's fine. But if you really want to have that experience and get to know your professors, get to know your friends within your major, and you get in those social events and those situations, I think it makes it special. And that's what I think is neat with our kinesiology department, because our faculty is very close knit. We all are housed, our kinesiology, basically in the same building. So we are in favor of you being successful in any program, not just our own. We don't just try and keep our own. We just try and advise and give you advice for whatever degree path you're following.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Oh,
if I get a chance, I'll jump in there too. Jeff and I have worked with several students in the past, and we're working with another right now, and Sam, she's in the health fitness specialist degree option, but her passion is really working with kids, and we started to see that in some of her classes, and we kept telling her, man, maybe physical education is right for you, and so she's going to take that graduate level route. I'm writing her letter of recommendation right now to work this summer down in Brunswick County. So to echo Jeff's statement that we all work together. Lisa and I have worked together. I haven't had the opportunity to work with Andrea so much just yet, but because she just got here in the fall. We're gonna work together. If she's got a sports studies student that wants to get into strength and conditioning, but doesn't necessarily have all the prerequisite recommendations, I'm going to meet with that student. I'm going to do everything I can to get that student in there, because if he wants to coach in strength and conditioning, I want to get him in there and get him prepared to find that internship that he needs and to find that employment that he needs. So I would say we all work really, really well together.
thank you. So for time's sake, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to our students as well. I want to give them some time to speak. So just talk about a little bit about what you love about your major, why you chose ECU, what's your favorite part of ECU. And in the meantime, if you guys on the call have any questions, feel free to raise your hand. I'm happy to call on you, or, drop a question in the chat as well.
So, like I said, I'm an exercise physiology major. My plan is to go on to PA school. I chose ex-phys because originally I wanted to be a physical therapist, but I just love the majors, so I stuck with it. Probably my favorite part of ECU is just how close-knit, everyone is. Everyone just made me feel like I belong here. All the professors and faculty members, they really want what's best for you. And y'all have been explaining, there's so many opportunities that ECU provides, and just set you up for having the future you want for yourself.
So I'm a sophomore right now, so I haven't been here too long, but what really stood out and continues to stand out for me is that when I first came, after I'd gotten accepted, I came to tour and I had questions, and people were connecting me with other faculty on staff to answer. Everybody, somebody drove from home to school to talk to me, answer my questions, which is something that I never thought would happen. So just having people that were like truly invested in your success that you could already tell from the start, and like since getting on campus, it's only been proven, like all these professors are constantly wanting what's best for us and wanting us to succeed in what we do. And like, they're not just here to do research, and they're not just here to like teach a class and go home. Like, if you wanted help and you reach out, and like, as they were saying earlier, if you make it, like, it's up to you. Like, if you connect with your professors, go to office hours, like they help you write as much as you're willing to do. And that was something that I like really enjoyed.
I'll add, so Ms. Still mentioned a kinesiology living learning community, which is really unique to this department, because basically what happens is, as a freshman, you have the opportunity to live with other students who are kinesiology majors, which just kind of opens up a pathway for you to kind of form study groups, meet people within your program, etc. Haley lived in the kinesiology learning community, so she can answer questions about that. And then Kendall is a honors college student as well. So if you guys have any interest in those as well, they can answer questions about that. So.
Great. We are getting some questions in the chat, so I just wanted to say it so everyone can hear it. We had a question about the internship credit and when that's completed. So the internship credit is usually completed your very last semester, and that is a class that you're enrolled in and that you take and you have to submit assignments for. We do, though, encourage you to do other, I guess, internships, volunteer shadowing opportunities, even before then, to get experience and just to help build your resume. And that can be done also through, we have something called Handshake through our Career Center as well. Somebody asked, can you become a physical therapist with a 4-year degree, or do you need to go farther? You do need to go farther. Does one of the advisors want to kind of answer that, or Lisa? It's a DPT program here at ECU.
I think Rachel just put some stuff in the chat, but typically you need that 4-year degree, and then you go on, you apply, and then you would go on to 3 more years for the DPT. So a total of 7 years of school, but they're all said and done.
That's what I was thinking. Somebody asked, what classes or steps would I need to take to pursue a career as a sports medicine physician? And we do get this question a lot, and I think it just depends on what your definition of sports medicine is. Is it athletic training? Is it med school? If you truly want to be a sports medicine physician and a practicing physician, then that would be medical school. I would say. Let's see. Okay, we have a question about early college and high school, and if there's a difference in the sequence of classes. Rachel, do you want to answer that question? I know exercise physiology has a very sequential sequence, as well as PE. Sports studies and health fitness are a little more flexible. So we can usually get you, with those early college classes out with 2 and 2.5 years. But there may be some other requirements for those programs. So I'm going to stop talking and let Rachel talk now.
Yeah, so we do have a lot of students that bring in credits now, whether it's, a couple classes they do dual enrollment or the full early college. It mostly depends on what you've taken. So I know we get questions a lot because you've completed 60 credit hours, and mathematically that's half of a 4-year degree. So you think there's 2 years remaining. It's hard to do it that way unless you've taken the exact right classes that do transfer in. So just kind of keep that in the back of your mind, that it's not always what you've completed, it's what you have remaining. So we are, like with exercise physiology, very science heavy, and they are particular sciences. So it kind of depends on how many of those you've taken. starting with Math 1065, which is our college algebra. Exercise physiology specifically is going to be a 7-semester sequence of classes that are prereqs to each other, have to be taken in that order listed. So it kind of depends on how many in that sequence you've completed. But when you come in, so all of our freshmen do come into what we call professional advising, which is what me and Mandy and Vanessa do for all 4 of the majors. And you'll come in and we make you meet with us individually for the first few semesters just to go over, we'll go over exact degree plans with what you brought in, how that transfers over, what you have remaining, if you wanted to add in minors, any particular grad schools you're planning for, we'll kind of help you work in all of those courses. And I know for the most part, we are pretty good about working with students even before, you come in for your freshman year. So like if you're still in your junior, senior year and planning out the classes you're going to take, and you know that you want to pursue one of our kinesiology majors, feel free to reach out. Our information's on our website, and I'm sure Kelly will send it out in the email with this as well. So if you have questions about which courses you should be taking, if you want to double check that things are going to transfer over, we're happy to help answer any of those questions.
Thank you. And I'm going to throw this question to Mandy. Somebody asked about are general education classes required before major specific courses, or can students take them throughout the 4 years? The question is a mix, so I'll let Mandy kind of further explain that as well.
Yeah, so that's kind of similar as Rachel's mentioning, depending major to major. But for the most part, there's some of your general education courses, maybe your maths and science requirements are going to be courses you can complete and that will lead you into some of your major courses. But some of those gen ed courses such as humanities, fine arts, social sciences, again, depending on which major that you're moving forward with, can be what I call sprinkled in among some of those sciences. As Rachel mentioned, the exercise physiology major specifically is very science heavy. And so to get through those and into those major kinesiology courses, we don't want you taking 3 science courses with 3 labs all at the same time. So we need some of those other courses to balance out some of the other courses you're taking. So you don't just complete necessarily those first 4 semesters of general education and then move into what would you call pure kinesiology courses. Again, very dependent on your major, if you've transferred anything in, dual enrollment of any sort, but in general, they do get completed probably within like the first, 4 to 6 semesters.
Thank you. I don't have any other questions in the chat right now, but a lot of people are asking about professional programs. And one of the things that we do have here at ECU is a pre-professional office that will specifically help prepare you for some of those programs. Have any of our students utilized that office yet, or are part of maybe the pre-PA club or pre-PT club? I know you're kind of on the younger side, so maybe not quite yet. No?
I've used it a little bit, but not as much as I should have yet. It's very helpful, and I'll be reaching out pretty soon.
Haley also is an EMT to get some of her shadowing hours, so she's a little ahead of the game, I would say.
Awesome. Yeah. So, so the pre-professional program is there to, especially if you're interested in like a medical school or dental school, to tell you, okay, this is when you should be taking the MCAT, and they also have resources for studying for the MCAT, and same thing for the dental school as well. So they are separate from us, but we work with them a lot as well. So yeah, any other questions you have? Why don't our students tell you a little bit about what Greenville is like, what ECU is like outside of academics and what they're involved in.
So outside of like school, as like was mentioned, I'm in the honors college. I'm also involved in sorority on campus, which is like a great way to spend your time. But outside of that, like there's a lot to do in Greenville. I mean, most of that would be like me and my friends going like shopping together and stuff like that. But we've also got like multiple recreation areas. We've got North Rec that's really fun to go to. Like after this, I'm gonna go play intramural volleyball. Like there's a lot to do outside of class, which as we've been saying all meeting, it's kind of what you make of it. Like you can go join clubs, like there's a rock painting club, which I always think is really fun. They leave rocks everywhere. It sounds weird, it's awesome. And so there's a lot to do on campus. You just have to like kind of go for it and like from the start and not be scared of anything. Just join the club.
Yeah, and I'm from a pretty small town, so Greenville is a decent sized city for me. So I like how many restaurants there are. I live pretty close to the stadium, so I really like going to all the football and baseball games. And yeah, there's just a lot of stuff for you to do, to hang out with your friends, and yeah.
Ms. Craven, why don't you tell us a little bit about your experience in the graduate program?
Sure. So I am a two-time grad of this kinesiology department. I received my sports studies and business administration degree in 2019, my undergrad. And then in 2021, I received my master's in kinesiology with a focus in sport management. So kind of how I got, well, during my 6 years, I worked in our college athletic department, working with the football team. I also did some event management courses or projects for like when the baseball team hosted the super regionals and regionals. So that was really exciting. I interned with our local high school, or excuse me, county athletic department. So there's, high school athletic directors and middle school athletic directors. I worked with the one that kind of oversees all of those. Yeah, I did study abroad. I went to Ireland and England. I got some course credit for that, which is I highly recommend, because especially if you're an out-of-state student, you get in-state tuition and you also knock out a bunch of credits in a short amount of time. And you just get an awesome experience. I did some case study competitions, which is one of those pictures that you may have seen. We won a national case study competition related to Title IX and women in sports. That was really beneficial. I love this place. As you can see, I have not left, but I'm teaching a little bit sometimes too, so that's always fun. So yeah.
And another thing you guys might not know is that in Greenville, we actually host the Little League College Softball World Series every year. So a lot of our students are actually involved in that with the marketing, event management aspect of it. And I think there's actually possibly going to be a class in the future related to that in the summer that we could hopefully help students get credit for. There is another question in the chat. If I want to be a physical therapist, which of the 4 programs would be best for me to apply to? And Lainey, I think that is really up to you. What I tell students is, if we are going to work, whatever you want to major in, we are going to work in those prerequisites for you to the best of our ability within the 4 years. So all of our programs are going to prepare you for the physical therapy program. There's a lot of overlap, but we can also make sure that you get the sciences needed for a PT physical therapy program. So for example, exercise physiology, it's very science-based. It has all of the prerequisites built in for the physical therapy program. So that is a great program for that. You also have health fitness specialists. If you want a more hands-on type degree within the health field, that is great too. And that's also, I think they're just a few prereqs off that where it's not, automatically in your degree, which is fine. We just will add in that Mr. Campbell has done a great job of letting us sub in. So instead of your kind of electives, you can take some of those science courses you need. So again, getting those physical therapy prerequisites in 4 years. Same thing with physical education. They have the biomechanics class. They have the physiology of exercise class you have to take. And then with sports studies, remember I mentioned there is a minor required with that. So we allow our students to do the composite natural science minor to get those courses in as well. So did somebody want to talk? I'm sorry, am I interrupting? No? Okay, perfect. Oh yes, okay, I see what everybody's laughing at now. Yes, Mr. Campbell is very flexible with those classes. So we're gonna, if you want to do PT, I just say just do whatever undergrad major speaks to you and what you're most passionate about. You could also go and do biology with one of our minors. They're not as fun as us, but yes, you can major in anything for physical therapy. I hope that answers your question, Lainey.
Jump in real quick. I think if you know you like the science of movement, you want to do something with people, you like sports or exercise, I think that in and of itself, you're really ahead of the game. I think sometimes there's a lot of pressure to pin down that major your freshman year, but please, I think if you know that this is where I want to be, this area, you're already ahead of the curve. And in kinesiology, we work really well together to make sure you're lined up in that program that, like Dave said earlier, he's got a student that, this is really where their strengths are and this is what's going to benefit them. So how can we work with you to make sure that ultimately you're where you're best suited? So whether that's you start in Ex-Phys and then we transition you maybe to PT, or not PT, PE, how do we kind of sub some courses to make sure you're not here for 8 years, but still get the degree and the career goals you're looking for?
Yeah, and just to echo off that, we have one more kinesiology ambassador who couldn't come tonight, but he's really fun. His name's James. He is an Ex-Phys student as well, but he recently, about 2 years ago, joined the cheer team here. So he's very outgoing and energetic, but he has kind of transitioned. He originally came in wanting to do like chiropractic. Over the summer, he did physical therapy shadowing, and he was like, that is not what I thought it was going to be. So he's shifting and working with his professors to kind of learn maybe more about the strength and conditioning route or health fitness specialist route. So he's, you don't have to know exactly when you come in. A lot of it's transferable, and we welcome you with open arms.
All right, any other questions? All right, well, thank you guys so much for joining us. Yes, Matt, do you want to talk about what you just put in the chat really quickly?
Oh, yeah, sure. So our ambassadors also have a student-run Instagram account. So that is that one underneath there. I actually kind of messed up that handle, but it's just ambassadors of HHP. So all of our ambassadors have access to it. So if you guys have questions about student life or just things around campus, you're more than welcome to shoot them a message. I also put our HHP Instagram account as well as the kinesiology Instagram account. So you guys can explore those as well.
All right. Well, thank you all so much for coming. Oh, well, I do want Mr. Flowers. I'm going to put this in the follow-up email that I send to everyone. But would you like to do a rundown of some important dates coming up for admissions, especially for our high school seniors on the call?
Hey, yeah, just 2 big things to note before I forget about it. So open house is November 5th. So we were going to do that a couple of weeks ago, but the hurricane decided to reschedule that on our behalf, but it is coming up soon. And also we're in the middle of free application week this week. So I just like to make a note of that for students. So if you apply through CFNC or directly on the ECU website, you don't have to pay the $75 fee, which is great. So as far as dates are concerned, so November 1st is coming up soon. And so if you are thinking about honors college eligibility, it's good to get your application in by that date. And I think it's a pretty hard sort of cutoff they have for that. So that's something to be aware of. I know the general application deadline for fall 2023 is April 1st. So that's, a good bit of time, but just some dates to be aware of. But again, my contact information and the admissions contact information is in the chat. And if we can help with anything at all, just let us know. We're happy to assist however we can.